Sometimes we all just hit this point that we want to see a real transformation in our life, like a way to actually reinvent ourselves. And sometimes that feels so absolutely overwhelming, and it doesn't have to be. Your biggest changes come from the small habits and the things that you show up to do consistently each and every single day. And today we're going to talk about some of those changes that you can make and the way that you can actually transform your thinking, start to change your perspective, start to look at things just a little bit differently, and start to show up for yourself in different ways so that you can make the transformation that you're looking to make in your own life. So I'd like to welcome you to today's episode of Unleashing Happiness. I am your host, Cecilia Hendricks, and my focus is to teach others how to actually change their habits, change their mindset, and change their lives. My focus is on all things personal development and how to shift your self-concept so that you're able to actually create a life that you truly love. And recently, my podcast episodes have tied back to Neville Goddard's Your Faith is Your Fortune, and I'm going to continue on that theme today. We're actually up to chapter 7 now. The chapter is called Thy Will Be Done, and we're going to be connecting that today so that you can see the way that you can actually make changes in your life by making changes to your identity. And what are ways that we can take the teachings from someone like Neville Goddard and actually apply them to life in a practical way that does not create like this mental battlefield, which is something that I see way too often within the law of assumption space, that folks really get into it. They don't quite understand the teachings and whether they're conscious of that or not. And so they create this like mental fight within themselves to try to affirm or create a life that they truly love. And it's coming from this place of desperation and maybe anxiety that is creating a continued focus on desperation and anxiety. Like, I have to have this thing so I can feel this way, right? Like, people are looking for this end result that if I just have this happen in my life, then I can feel loved. If I just have this happen in my life, then I can feel like I'm worthy. If I could just get into this school, then I would feel like I'm making my parents proud. And what we're focusing here on this podcast instead is how to shift that so internally you feel worthy, you feel loved, you feel proud of you, so that the world reflects it back to you. It's shifting the perspectives that you have, because again, our brain is always wired to confirm to us what we believe. So when you're constantly seeking the negative, you're going to constantly continue to see that. You're going to start to see the areas that are not going well in your life. You're going to feel like it's kind of overwhelming and it's just happening one thing after another. Whereas when you start to shift that perspective and you're able to look at things differently and you feel better about the person that you are, those same events, they just don't affect you in quite the same way anymore. You're able to manage them better because your emotional intelligence has improved, your self-regulation has improved, your nervous system is calm because you keep it calm. It's all about learning how to manage the things that happen in life. Because even if you have the most zen feeling and you're focused on exactly the life that you want constantly, and your mind is pretty much perfect, we're still human. Things are going to happen that are maybe not the way that we want them to be. People are going to behave in ways that we don't really enjoy or that we don't like the way that they're showing up for ourselves. But when you shift that perspective away from that means something about me, I must not be worthy, to this is just something that is either more about the position that they're in or it's teaching me something. Like, what is the lesson that I can learn in this? Is this showing me that I'm not in the place that I should be, that I'm not giving my attention to the people that I should be, that I need to let them do them and I'm going to go do me? Our emotional reactions to anything that happens to us in life is absolutely telling of the state and the identity that we're holding. Because you will find as you work through these processes of making changes in your life that suddenly things don't affect you in the same way. And you can actually look and tie this into your current life. Think back 10 years ago, maybe to if you were in a relationship that was not going as well as you would like it to, and that person is now your ex, and you kind of look back and you're like, man, I cannot believe I behaved that way in that relationship. I cannot believe that I gave that much of my time and attention to someone who didn't treat me right. Those are the shifts that you would have, because if you went back to you in that relationship from 10 years ago and tried to tell them the same kind of thing, their state, where they are, their perspective would not even allow them to understand where you're coming from. They would be like, no, you don't understand. He actually loves me. He just is unable to show it. I just need to be better in the way that I'm treating him. I need to figure out how I can behave better for him. And it's like, no, I need to figure out how I can do things for me. Once you start shifting to yourself, the world starts to reflect it back to you. And sometimes I believe that means that people will start to fall away out of life. And that can be very, very uncomfortable. That can be a shift that it's like a little scary, right? When you start to see things that are falling out of your life. But it can also be viewed as a really great transformation. It's part of your reinvention. Have you ever had friends that it's like you're not upset with them, but you've definitely grown out of the friendship? It's kind of like that. And it's okay to see it that way. I still wish them the absolute best, but our friendship is no longer the same. We've both grown in different directions, and it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. It just means that things have changed. And I say that to tie back to that when you're making these changes in your life, when you're making transformation within your own life and you're completely reinventing yourself and you're creating this life that you are just so excited and feel lucky and blessed to wake up every day that you get to live it, things are going to change. You're going to become a different person. And that's really fantastic and exciting because reinvention truly means to make something like it's brand new. So I hope if you're listening today, it means that you are ready to learn about the ways that you can transform yourself, to learn about the ways that you can reinvent yourself. And maybe you've been on this path for quite a while and you're like, I've got these personal development things that I want to do. I want to change my own personal self-concept. I want to grow into the person that I know I'm supposed to be or that I feel the desire to be. And I'm just kind of stuck and I just need to figure out some ways to get there. And the nice thing is that the ways to get there is not some huge change. Your life changes based on the choices you make each and every day. Who you show up as, the way that you show up for yourself, the habits and routines that you actually maintain are going to confirm or deny the person that you're saying that you want to be. And I'm going to quote Neville Goddard, "Your faith is your fortune." Again, I'm reading from chapter 7, and he says, "When man wills, he attempts to make something that which does not now exist appear in time and space. Too often we are not aware of that which we are really doing. We unconsciously state that we do not possess the capacities to express. We predict our desire upon the hope of acquiring the necessary capacities in future time. I am not, but I will be." I want you to spend just a second considering something. What do you believe is true of yourself that you do not already possess? That, I think, is a key here. Now, I do believe that you can say, I'm going to be in the process. I'm going to start this process of becoming the person that I want to be. But you're never truly going to be that thing. You're never going to have that identity until you actually believe that it's true of yourself. And this is where I think a lot of people get caught up. The folks that I talk to get very caught up in it. You create a struggle because you continue to want something. You continue to desire it. You continue to feel like you cannot have this thing and that you desperately need it within your own life. And so you're desperately seeking this thing that you do not have, which means that you are continually saying, I do not have this thing. I don't have it. I need to express repeatedly to myself, either through robotic affirmations or some sort of visualization technique, whatever technique it is, that I have to obtain this thing. And when that is done from an area of desperation and anxiety, that's what it actually continues to create, because you are desperately looking for this thing. There is nothing in the world that you are now that you don't feel that you are. So if you actually think about the way that you truly feel about yourself, like let's say that you have a loved one that you really want or an ex that you're seeking, and you desperately want this person to feel those feelings back for you. Your true feeling then is that you're desperately seeking this person. And it's that true feeling that needs to change before there's anything that will appear in your external world. That's the conundrum here. That's the cycle that I think a lot of people get themselves stuck in. And if we go back to Neville's chapter, he says, man does not realize that consciousness is the Father which does the work, so he attempts to express that which he is not conscious of being. Such struggles are doomed to failure. Only the present expresses itself. And this should actually bring great comfort, because if only the present is expressing itself, that means that you can take your attention away from all the things that are not going your way and learn how to place them internally. Learn how to work on your own habits and routines that you're maintaining, your own self-regulation, your own way of dealing with your emotions, right? And becoming more emotionally intelligent so that you can actually have the life that you want. And the more that you focus on yourself, don't worry about everything else that's going on. Start to focus on you. Start to take care of yourself. It's not a selfish thing to take care of yourself. The more you take care of yourself, the more you're able to give to others. And I think so often I see so many people and I talk to so many people who are putting so much attention on everything externally that's going on around them that they are not paying attention to the way that they feel. They're not paying attention to the feelings and the behaviors that they're continuing every single day. They're not taking care of themselves. You have to be the one that's honest with yourself about the way that you're living. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you focusing on you? Are you actually creating these feelings of worth and changing your own self-concept, the identity that you hold, the state that you're dwelling in? Are you making those changes to be more aligned to the type of person that you want to be? One of the ways to do this that I'm going to recommend is start to look at the way that you're spending your evening. So a lot of times I think it's often taught to us to look at like how we're spending our mornings, which is very important, don't get me wrong, but your evening is really going to set up that next morning. So there's 3 things, I call them my 3 R's, that I really recommend that you do each and every evening so that you can have a better tomorrow. And they're the refresh, renew, and reflect. So refresh is to do something for yourself. Take a shower, take a bath, wash your face, something physical to cleanse yourself, get ready for bed. And I even look at like brushing my teeth, washing my face, brushing my hair. Those are all the ways that I'm refreshing myself and getting ready to cleanse away the day so I can get into bed, feel fresh, feel clean, feel good. The next one is a renewal of the mind. So we're going to renew each and every night. You can do that by taking a walk, and definitely while you're doing that walk, just kind of be with yourself. Be present in that moment. Realize that you're doing something to provide yourself joy and to feel good within that moment. That's wonderful. You can do a meditation. You can read a book, work on learning a new skill, watch a documentary, anything that's like a renewal of the mind, but kind of sit with yourself. You can journal. That's another really good one. And then the next one is to reflect. I want you to take a look at the day that you just spent and ask yourself, if I was the ideal person that I want to be, I have the love in my life that I want, I have the career that I want, I am enjoying the travel that I want, whatever it is, your wants, I want you to look at the things that you actually want, the life that you want to have, the desires that you hold that maybe you're not allowing yourself to even be conscious of currently. But I want you to think about your day. Is your habits, and just you, don't worry about anybody else, did your habits for the day align to that person? Did your routine say, yes, I'm living a life that I really enjoy? And I'll use an example. Let's say that you want to have really good friendships in your life. Like you're seeking to be more socially active. You want to get out a bit more, and having these like deep friendships is very important to you. But you look back on your day and you realize that you spent your day completely by yourself. You did not contact anybody. You did not look for events that maybe you could do locally to get out and about or to meet anybody new. You had a friend that texted you, but you never responded back to them. And I'm just using like these as examples, right? But if you look back and you say, man, I really want these friendships to be closer and tighter. It's important to me to get out and about and to do things and to be more social, right? You have to decide what are the important things to you. And you say, wait a minute, but I didn't do any of those things today. Like I didn't put any focus on myself and the routines and the habits that I'm maintaining to get that stuff done. And so that's when you can take a look to reflect back on your day. What can I do tomorrow to make myself 1% better? And the 1% better is the key here. You do not need to wake up in a completely different view of yourself or a completely different person. You just need to start making small changes to the way that you're living your life. And the funny part here is if you are a follower of Neville Goddard and you say, wait a minute, Neville says you don't have to actually take any action. Your actions are going to follow the state that you're in. So you even making a choice to do anything different, to reach out to a friend, to do a meditation, to do these 3 R's is already reflective that your state has changed. That simple choice is already showing that you have started to shift your state. You have started to shift your identity, or else you wouldn't be doing it in the first place. So of course, there's going to be some actions that are going to come. You don't need to try to force fit something very specific. You can let that happen. God handles that. The universe handles that. Everything is already created and it's coming to you, right? So instead of you moving towards it, it is coming towards you. But you can take a look at, am I aligned to this person that I want to be? And what can I do to get 1% better tomorrow? This is all part of the reflection. And when I take a look at that and I say, okay, well, tomorrow I need to do a lot of household chores, but I really want to make this friendship stronger. Well, then you can make a choice to say, you know what, while I'm doing the laundry tomorrow, I'm going to call a friend. I'm just going to chit chat with them and I'm going to contact them. That is your 1% better, and then your habit stacking. So you can start to make a choice that while I'm doing this thing that I need to get done, doing my laundry or cleaning my house or taking a walk or whatever it is, these things that I feel like I have to get done, and I can pair it with something that I would like to do that's aligned to the life that I want to have, like giving my friend a call, reaching out to them. These small shifts are you claiming the person that you want to be. You are essentially saying, I am becoming this new person. And once you actually feel the naturalness of being that person, then you are. Right? And this is where I think it gets a little confusing and sometimes can be a little difficult to even communicate. But you are only the thing that you believe you truly are. So when you're working towards becoming something, you don't actually become it until you are it, right? And I think that's a lot of what Neville is teaching. And he says, again, the master serves is that which he is conscious of being. I am Lord and Master of that which I am conscious of being. It is no effort for me to conjure poverty if I am conscious of being poor. My servant is compelled to follow me as long as I am conscious of being poor. Instead of fighting against the evidence of your senses, you claim yourself to be that which you desire to be. As your attention is placed on this claim, the door of the senses automatically close against your former master. And I want to get into this a little bit, right? Because if you are having a master, that's essentially what you're conscious of being. So you being conscious of being something is what's creating in your life. That is your identity. That is the state that you're dwelling in. So once you start to focus on being that new thing, you've reinvented yourself, you've transformed yourself into this new person, well, then you are no longer aware of the old person that you were. You have changed. You have grown. You've become that which you were seeking. And that's what it means to put your attention onto the thing that you want to be instead. And you can do this very easily. It's not actually as difficult as I think some people make it out to be. And you don't have to constantly repeat something over and over and over, because the only thing that matters is the feeling that you hold when you're repeating those words. So if you're someone who's been seeking change in your life by using affirmations, that's wonderful. I definitely tell myself affirmations. I speak to myself kindly. I work on my inner conversations, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're repeating them out of a desperation that I have to have this change in my life, I cannot be happy until this external event happens, then you're constantly going to remain in this cycle of seeking. And that's what we're talking about today. So I want to encourage you to look at the way that you're spending your day. Is it aligned to the person that you want to be? And each night, go through the 3 R's: refresh, renew, and reflect. And reflection, I want to also point out, is not beating yourself up. It's not saying, oh my gosh, I've had yet another day where I'm not aligned to the person that I want to be. I'm not living the life that I want. I failed again. I really messed up today. I didn't do it right. No. Every single moment is a moment for renewal. Every single moment is a moment that you can transform. Every single moment is one that has provided you the opportunity to start living the way that you actually want to. And it's all about self-forgiveness. You don't have to beat yourself up. You have the ability to make the changes in your own life. And that is a beautiful, beautiful gift. And the other part of that is that you should be thankful, because you cannot make change in your life unless you're aware of the change that you want to make. So be thankful now that you're aware. That is the first step to making any kind of change in your life. So you should feel really, really good about it. I hope that you found this episode helpful. If you have any questions and you're listening on YouTube, go ahead and pop them in the comments below. Otherwise, you can definitely email me as well. It's unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com. And I always love hearing from you, so please don't hesitate to reach out if you have some questions. And I really look forward to hearing about the ways that you are making the transformation in your own life. I would love to hear your stories. I always look forward to them. I love hearing from everybody. And I really hope that you have an absolutely beautiful, beautiful week. And I will be back next Monday.